Okay, Ascension. What is the best spiritual strategy for essentially a whole lifetime that is going to be most beneficial? Have you got one? Have you heard one? Would it be helpful to you? Yeah. Most importantly, it has to come from someone who knows how to do it. Even more importantly, job done it, and works perfectly in harmony with the Bodily Template, which is the template for the higher realms. Because let's face it, if one person tells you, oh yeah, this modality, energy healing or NLP or herbalism, all very helpful and very beneficial to take on and learn, and I've done lots of that myself. But if they're saying that's the one thing that's going to help and heal you and save you, yeah, good luck. It's much more holistic perspective, and it takes a fair bit more work than most people understand. It certainly was for me when I first started. And would that person who's coming from that one modality, okay, they're in that stage, and does that say that that's the one thing that they're requiring at that particular moment, and they haven't quite got to their bodily temple upgraded to have a more systemic or holistic perspective? Yeah, absolutely. Because there are certainly different stages and different levels, as people will say, no, you can do it this way or you can do it that way. Well, guess what? There's many ways. Is there? That tells you that they're still in duality and they're moving around and they haven't got clarity for an ascension strategy. Makes sense, doesn't it? So, how do we get an ascension strategy? Making it happen. Well, we have to get everything in the body temple fixed, essentially. Takes a bit more effort. And so diet, nutrition, detoxification, purification, meditation, all these yoga, asana are absolutely ideal, especially for the first stage. What I call first stage is realize divine within and the empowerment that's inside of us, that we have to change our own biochemistry and our own thoughts and beliefs and patterns and diet and nutrition and lifestyle choices. So, and instead of externalizing to an outside, divine God or someone else is fixing me or someone else. Sure, we can all help and heal and guide each other, but when it comes down to it, it's all down to number one, or for oneness. Makes sense, right? So, stage 2, clear Sushumna. What is Sushumna? Sushumna is, we're told, this is the conceptual understanding of the chakras, and which is essentially the endocrine system, just an Eastern or Western explanation for it. And of course, what is it in the body that we can take action on? It's the alimentary canal. It's everything from mouth to anus. So, you've got to clear that. A lot of people haven't got anywhere near that, but they might have been doing this sort of stuff for 30 to 50 years and calling themselves a spiritual teacher or a healer or a yogi. Haven't got to stage 2 yet. So, how do we clear that? Well, most people have got a good 5 kilos plus of solid fecal matter stuck in their intestines without them even knowing it. And they wonder why they're feeling a bit shitty, essentially. So, the best ways to clear that are exercise, especially in Mother Nature, I've found, and getting that oxygenation in and clearing it out, and something with a little bit of impact. So for me, it was running. If you like mountain biking, whatever works for you. You can get a significant impact into clearing Sushumna in 3 hours. Yeah. Seriously, 3 hours you can get through chunky amount of your karma, which all stored in the solar plexus. And I see that as about 6 months of daily Bikram yoga, where you're doing a Shankar Prakshalana, an intestinal cleanse with salt water and a few asanas to move around. Really easy, helpful to have a guide. You can do it yourself if you've got the fire and the drive and determination to get past the messages that come to the receptionist of the conscious mind. It's a fun one. So, most people are still self-sabotaging them on a daily basis. So if we need to get people to 1 meal out 1 meal in, 1 meal out in the digestion. How many times a day, that's up to them and their constitution, but we need to get that amount out, and ideally get more out, because we've got a whole bunch of stored stuff here, and that's the things that are really affecting our karma and our organs and our organ function. And that's the one that ends up with emotional retardation, because our organs are not able to function, move, and get rid of stuff. Other options for that are coffee enemas, fasting, and sweating. Sweating's huge. Worth 15 minutes of sweating is worth 6 days of getting rid of kidney gunk. Huge. So Bikram yoga, near-infrared saunas, absolutely amazing for that sort of thing. Just clearing stuff. Because isn't it like a simple input and output system? Yeah, let's get that better. And you watch how he was end. So stage 2, once we've cleared that out, that takes, if you've got a good solid diet and lifestyle from, as your base, it can take a year plus to get to that stage. Yeah, it takes a fair bit of effort, but with the right tools, it's easy enough, because you're feeling fantastic every time that you're doing these things, and by getting rid of the stories. Next stage comes organ regeneration and redevelopment. So at that stage, because we've got more flow, the organs are already pumping stuff out at a much higher rate. So the higher homeostasis, and then that ends up being the same as your vibration rate. So each time that you're feeling better by getting rid of gunk, you raise your vibration, because the body's working much better. You're feeling much more connected to your body and the universe. So those people who are just doing the head work, good luck, because using the 1% conscious mind, I call the receptionists up here, to access the 99% of the bodily temple, it's very, very impractical and inefficient. It's just not happening. So, especially when people are putting more gunk in and trying to get the effect or the symptom and the emotions or the patterns, when there's a whole bunch of them stored down in the 99%, it's kind of like trying to use a key to get into the keyhole, and there's a universe there. Just doesn't work. Okay, so then once we're regenerating and redeveloping the organs, we're cleaning them with beautiful herbs that are specifically tailored to that particular imbalance. Lots of green smoothies, lots of Ayurvedic herbs, and also supplements, mineral supplements, absolutely wonderful. Shilajit in particular, big fan of. And at this stage, you've generally raised your Kundalini at some point when we're coming along here. And that is absolutely wonderful. Full body orgasm, super connected to Mother Nature and the universe. Full on, lots of fire of transformation has already happened, and you just go, whoa. And while there's lots of mystical, fancy concepts around this, it is easy enough to do if you know how to do it. And it took me about, 20 months or so of spiritual work once I already had a good diet and lifestyle. And of the 20 people that I know in my worldwide healing circle, we've all done it within 3 years. Most people do. So it's certainly, definitely, 100% achievable. In the body, able to get it done in your daily routine and daily lifestyle. And what we've noticed is the more that we improve ourselves, and especially detoxify and clear the master chakra, that's the throat chakra, because that's the one responsible for metabolism, we found that our perception of time and also the universe will come back and give us more time to heal ourselves and improve ourselves. And that becomes a major part of your day and your life, and you just feel better and you live longer. Heaps cool. So once we've found, usually we've all got an organ imbalance that we were born with. It's the one we're sent here to fix, the main one. So for me, that was liver. It was absolutely screwed. So I would subconsciously run for incredibly long distances, marathons, ultra marathons, lots of outdoor exercise, adventure race, the extended distances, because I subconsciously needed to get rid of all that gunk to feel better. Then that, of course, meant spleen was deficient, and then iron deficiency and all sorts of things. So my maternal issues would come up. And then I ended up doing, a lot of the light and love fluffy stuff, right? So the energy healing, the emotional stuff, all getting in touch with my feminine side, which is heaps fun because, as we know, the feminine sympathetic nervous system comes across from the left side of the body to the right, and that's the one that actually connects you to the universe. So we've got to feel everything, and our senses are the way to do that. And during this period, we end up finding that core imbalance, and we fix it. The core wound that we're sent here to fix, once that is done and dusted, the world becomes your oyster. It is absolutely wonderful because we're not hampered by the stories that are subconsciously stored in our body that are preventing us from growing. And what I found in my journey and sharing and supporting others through that core wound is it is pretty hectic. Like, there's lots of stories in the head, what's going on here, all this attached. Like, for me, it was my mum passed away because she was toxic and chose toxic choices for leukemia, all that sort of fun stuff. That would affect my relationships with pretty much every woman that I've come across, but especially partners. And it just feels really hard, and like you attach so many stories and random weird thoughts and feelings come up from a number of years ago. So once you get through that, you're superb. Kundalini raises, and then we start getting on to the more subtle things. So stage 4 is systems. We start to find out which system could be improved. So for me, lately it's been urinary tract, and I'm just clearing out mucus, plaque, critters and all sorts of gunk from there to really strengthen that area. Because let's face it, our soul is in our solar plexus and the contents there, and if we want to get from our soul and connect it to our spirit in our reproductive system, we need to get them firing as much as we possibly can, because our soul and our spirit, we really want to get them connected, absolutely, because it's quite wonderful. And of course, it depends on the imbalance for the person, but once we fix that one area up, and we tailor everything to it, we go diet, nutrition, lifestyle, herbal supplements, mineral supplements, meditation practices, yoga practices, and detoxification. So we tailor everything to the imbalance, because when we strengthen our weakness, we take the bottom of our vibration and bring it up to the top. That's where the real growth is. Sure, we have to face ourselves in our stories that we've made up, but because your body's working at such a brilliant, fantastic, and high energy and high vibrational rate, the stories come easy. You just know what it is, and you're feeling what you need to do. It's quite wonderful. So after that, what was that, stage 4 or 5? The next one, we start getting on to heavy metals and critters and gunk like that. So these are the subtle things that are in our body. So there'll be, quite often, it's part of our world, it's kind of how it is, there's fungus, there's parasites, there's a whole bunch of heavy metals and that are feeding these things. So therefore we need to get them clean and cleared out. And remarkable how much the mind clears and the neurology is cleared up by getting rid of these gunky heavy metals and all the critters that are controlling our minds, preventing us from being as much light and love as we possibly can. So after that stage, we start to get onto the elemental balance. Oh yeah. So we tailor all of these little things and shift them again and fine tune and optimize. So then we can start feeling the elements through our body. The way the oxygen moves into different parts and the way the blood flows. Oh, there's a little bit there. Oh, we can fix that up. Yeah. And when we start getting on to what I call universal energy orgasms. Yeah, happens a few times, and we can actually feel the wind coming through your body, like your body's not actually there in a physical form, or you can feel the light from the sunlight coming through. And wow, it is quite wonderful. So, and that's the stage that I'm aware of so far. I don't know what else is next because I haven't quite got there yet. I can tell you it's quite a level, and it's interesting, and it's fascinating, and you can do it quite quickly with the right guidance. It's very, very helpful. So, Ascension strategy, spiritual path, in a nutshell, to the level I've understood so far. Well, then I'll keep you updated because it's heaps of fun. What else is there? Ascension. Let's get there. Let's make it happen.